the biggest things that get in the way of working on our parenting. And these are the reasons or barriers that have been coming up from people who are not joining my program. So I wanted to share them with you. So money is the biggest one. And my question to the people who I was talking to you and to myself back in the day was, well, what are you making important? What are you actually spending your money on? And is that important to you? Is it important to have those coffees bought out, or the lunches bought out, or the Netflix, or the Sky TV, or whatever it is that you're spending your money on? Is that what's important to you? Because I got to the point where it was actually my relationships with my partner and my children are more important. So time is the second one. I just don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to work on anything. Things are so busy, everything's so stressed, and I totally get that. Absolutely get that. The world's crazy. When I started asking myself these questions, I really started to look at regrets. And I remember reading a book that was written by a nurse, which was about the 5 biggest regrets on the deathbed. And I started to ask myself that exact question. If I was on my deathbed, what would I regret? What would I wish that I had have done differently? And when I asked myself that, parenting was the biggest. So the next response that I've got, or the next barrier to working on parenting, is my partner's not into it. We're not really aligned, we're not on the same page, and we're not parenting together, together parenting. And, what I ask around that, well, how are you ever going to get on the same page if you don't look into your parenting? But we shouldn't need to. And this was a big one for me, a big one. It's like, but surely parenting comes naturally. We're meant to do this, right? We don't need to train. We don't need to prepare. It should just do it naturally. And yeah, the inherent training that we get is from our parenting relationship, which was from our parents. And often that is sometimes up to 25, 30 years old. It's quite an outdated model, the way that the world is shifting at the moment. It's super fast with the advances in technology, transportation, medicine, all of this stuff. The world is moving, and it's a completely different world to even when I was a kid, let alone when my mum was a kid. So the other piece I have around that is, could you imagine going to a dentist and finding out that he was using, textbooks that were over 30 years old, and then he's sticking his fingers in your mouth, and yeah, I don't think I'd be okay with that. And the last point that I was coming across was, well, why should I listen to you? Who are you? What do you know? And my response to that is, well, I've been there. I've been through the process of completely turning into my mother. I've been through that process of my relationship turning into my parents' relationship, and then just kind of going, oh my God, had no idea. My mentor calls it the family trance, and I like to call it, kind of slipping into autopilot. You sort of have no idea it's happening, and then you just start unconsciously repeating these patterns from the past or reacting really strongly to them. So sometimes neither of those are authentic or helpful. So I've been through the separation. I've been through the older child who had a really hard time with that, and who was getting withdrawn and angry and aggressive and, to the point of violence, and wondering what the heck I was going to do with a 6, 7-year-old whom I was sort of bailing out of interactions and arguments and things with friends and family, whether I'd be bailing him out of jail in 10 or 12 years. A little bit different when you're managing somebody who's kind of down here. My kids, I've got 2 boys, they're going to be up here soon. And I wanted to feel like I had a hold on the situation when I didn't before. So, parenting and working on my parenting has been the best investment that I have ever made. Because, it really dawned on me around that time that these relationships are going to be with me for the rest of my life. I wasn't planning on selling my kids on Trade Me, or they're going to be with me for the rest of my life, and I want to have the best, opportunity to ensure that those relationships are fun and joyful and loving and all of those things that we want, calm and real and authentic. And so best investment I ever made. It's completely transformed the way that I parent. It's completely transformed the way that I am. I wish I'd done it before my partner and I had split up, and having said that, now we parent together like bosses, and that is truly incredible, and this work has created that. So my Pathways for Parenting program has started, and it's not too late. You can jump on. If you're feeling drawn to it, then let me know, and we can have a dialogue around anything else apart from the things that I've mentioned that may be standing in your way from working on your parenting, from working on the relationships that are closest to you for the rest of your life. Yeah, it's a long period of time. Alrighty, so I'll put the link below, and I'll link it to the website. So please get in touch if you would like to work on your parenting, if you would like some support, if you would like to jump onto this program.